Normally, this is something we do on location, and that can typically be in a community that's receiving one of the awards, somewhere in the State House, like around the Grand Staircase, or some other place where in the good old days, we all used to gather to celebrate this event. And obviously this year, we will certainly celebrate, but it's a virtual celebration as opposed to something that we can do in person. I certainly look forward to having a special day like this next year where we can all gather somewhere together and be physically present for this sort of an announcement. I think most people know that MassWorks is a partnership program. It's a partnership program between the legislature, the administration, the Commonwealth, cities and towns, and many of our private partners. And the best part about MassWorks, and everybody who knows anything about this knows this, is it has tremendous capacity for flexibility and can be used to sort of make the final stitch of many projects happen. And I've always thought that that's in some respects the part of MassWorks that has always made it, from my point of view, one of the most important tools we have in our toolbox at the state level to help communities and their business partners get stuff done. Since 2015, we've been pleased to be able to award, with the help of the legislature and others, $533 million worth of MassWorks grants, which have supported about 260 projects, which has leveraged over $10 billion in private investment and creating tens of thousands of jobs in more than 17,000 housing units. This year, we prioritize projects in an advanced stage of planning and design and permitting in communities hardest hit by COVID-19 to help stimulate their recovery from the pandemic. We're pleased to announce today that this year's awards will invest roughly $68 million across 36 projects in 35 cities and towns. In total, these grants will support the development of more than 35,000 new housing units, 1,000 of them affordable, and will create over 3,900 new jobs and 7,000 construction jobs, leveraging $1.6 billion in private investment. 9 of these awardees are located in gateway cities, 8 are roadway projects in small and rural communities, and 8 projects are the first MassWorks grants ever awarded to these respective municipalities. We obviously look forward to seeing these grants and many of the other things that we're working with the legislature and with our local government colleagues on continue to help us grow and recover from the beatdown that we've all taken from this pandemic over the course of the past 8 months. We are very grateful to the legislature for your continued interest in and support for this program. It is in some ways one of the most important elements we've got to help communities make themselves better, stronger, and more sustainable going forward. And obviously, we look forward to seeing whatever it is that comes out of the current deliberations going on in the conference committee with respect to the economic development bill that we filed earlier this year. Let me just say 2 other things. This year is the 10th year, as I said in my beginning of my remarks, of MassWorks Infrastructure Grant Program announcements. And it is in some ways, I think, for all of us, one of the programs that I certainly find a tremendous amount of joy and satisfaction in, and I know many others do as well, which is why not being able to meet in person to celebrate all this is a little bit of a downer. But with that, I will turn it over to the Lieutenant Governor, Karyn Polito, who has had a tremendous amount of interest and has advocated hard for this program from the time she was in the legislature right up until the time she and I had an opportunity to work with all of you. Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you all for being on this call. It's great to see you here from one end of the Commonwealth, literally to the other. I know Nantucket is on here as well as Pittsfield, so we're all here. I think as the governor was speaking, I was thinking about the sort of the 4 R's. First of all, response. I want to thank you all for your hard work in helping us respond to the presence of COVID in our Commonwealth and keeping people safe. Second would be reopening, when we all played a part. And I want to thank Representative Ferrante and Senator Lesser for helping us, as well as our municipal officials, safely reopen our economy through our phased approach across our Commonwealth. Helping us all recover, businesses, individuals, families, from the impact, as the governor said, of the virus on us all. And then I think of the word rebound, and that's the word I would use to refer to this program, because the MassWorks program is all about making sure that we are investing in your communities with you, with private sector partners, to help develop and redevelop areas in your community to help you have a more, I guess, one more word, robust economic activity in your community and in your region. And as the governor said, this is one of our most influential programs, because oftentimes when you're putting a development deal together, it's the infrastructure that's needed to unlock that housing unit, to unlock that retailer, to unlock that manufacturer, to unlock an industrial park, or to take a brownfield site and turn it into something productive, which means more jobs and more tax revenue to a municipality so that you can drive better service to your constituents. So it's a fantastic program that's withstood the test of time. And today is an opportunity for us to highlight that and how integral it is to our communities, and also spotlight some projects within your communities that are really important to you. I first want to congratulate the award recipients. This was a very competitive process. Secretary Kennealy will talk about that. Of course, if it was up to the governor and to me, we would say yes to everyone. We're clearly not able to do that in the first attempt, but we do like to work with communities, even if you did not receive a grant at the first try, that we try to work with you so that we can figure out how to get you to yes, either in this program or another program. So let me just start with Mayor Tyre. It's great to see you today, and congratulations on your award of $3 million to Pittsfield. That's no small change, Madam Mayor. And I remember visiting this area. This will support streetscape improvements to Tyler Street. I'm sure you'll talk about it, which is an area that will stimulate more growth, including the reuse of parcels as well as new uses in that area. That's a corridor that has been near and dear to your heart, and congratulations for seeing that come to fullest potential. Haverhill, I'm not sure who's on from Haverhill, but Mayor Fiorentini, to you and your team, $2 million for infrastructure improvements to an area in your community that's near and dear to your heart, and that's near the Bradford Commuter Rail Station. I remember being in that neighborhood with you, and they named the Bradford Rail Trail after you. So I know that this will bring new retail space and jobs and 290 housing units at that train station. So that's fantastic. Leominster, congratulations on $2.5 million for water and sewer infrastructure improvements that will allow the mall at Whitney Field to redevelop. It is one of the largest commercial districts in your city, but in the region too. So congratulations. What I love about MassWorks is sometimes we celebrate the biggest of big projects, but we are required, and this was something important to the legislators as well, to make sure that small and rural communities get their fair share. And 10% of the funds awarded must assist municipalities with populations under 7,000. And in this round, we have 8 towns receiving these awards, and they go from roadway improvements like culverts and underground utilities. There's just the must-haves in order for development to occur. So congratulations to these 8 towns, including Northfield and Warwick, celebrating your award that will reconstruct nearly 2 miles of road, forming the primary east-west corridor between your communities. Not only is this an economic development issue, an opportunity for you, but a public safety issue, as that's the main corridor that emergency vehicles travel in order to get people connected to the services they need. So that just seems like a no-brainer, Secretary. So good catch for your team. And then I'm particularly excited because while some of you are repeat customers to this program, you've become really smart and able to stack up these grants and be competitive. We have some first timers today. So we're really excited to welcome you to the program and congratulate you and your teams. And let me just list them alphabetically, starting with Acton and Irving and Hanover, and yes, Nantucket, Northfield, Wellfleet, Westboro, and Wilmington, all parts of our Commonwealth, communities of different sizes. Congratulations for getting into the program. I just want to quickly highlight some additional resources that we've been making available to you to support municipalities and main streets. One of them came largely because of ideas from you. The Shared Streets and Spaces program is one of my favorite in this pandemic because it put dollars in your hands and tapped into your creativity to reuse sidewalks, parking spaces, and parking lots like you've never used before to support your restaurants and retailers in your downtown locations. We with MassDOT extended $10 million to 124 projects in 103 communities very quickly, putting those dollars to work. And it was so popular, we said, well, let's do another 10 million, which is now open for applications. So that's called the Shared Winter Streets and Spaces program. So take a look for that. And Secretary Kennealy's office recently launched the Local Recovery Planning Grant Program of $10 million. So this is $10 million that we're making available to you so that you can think, what's happened during this pandemic to your downtown and Main Street area, and how do you need to understand what to do to help businesses bridge the gap and prepare for the future. So that is also available. And we'll continue to listen to your good ideas and see how we can work together to better position our communities for economic activity. But today it gives us a few moments to say thank you, congratulations. Let's keep working together. It's clearly the strength of our Commonwealth. When state and local government work together, we do good things. Congratulations. I wish you all a safe holiday, adhering to all the good advice from our governor around how to do that. Continue your great work throughout this year and into the next. And now I'd like to turn it over to Secretary Kennealy. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with you and your team, planning for economic development, touring the Commonwealth to put our partnership for growth plan together, and also to work with you on the reopening and recovery process due to the pandemic. So thank you for your leadership, Secretary Kennealy, and I'd now like to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and it's been such an honor to work with you as well, Lieutenant Governor. We've been through a lot these last couple of years, coming up with our economic development plan for the Commonwealth and coming up with the reopening strategy, and it's been such an honor to work with you on all these important initiatives. I do want to start by saying that if it was up to me, I'd fund all the applications too. So just to make sure people are clear on that one. But it's great to be with so many of our friends and colleagues from the legislature today and our municipal and community leaders. And I kind of want to start with a simple message and say we really miss seeing you all. Before the pandemic and the Baker-Polito administration, we really spent so much of our time on the road, meeting with you and your communities and hearing about your goals and your challenges and finding ways to work together. And I know we all missed that. We kicked off the 2019 MassWorks announcements about a year ago, and we did a lot of visits around the state. We went as far east as Easton and Kingston and Truro and Brewster, and as far west as Montague and Hatfield and Northampton and East Hampton. And they were wonderful visits. And I always enjoy the MassWorks events because you hear the stories about the projects. You hear the things that didn't necessarily make it into the application. You hear about how the idea first came about. You hear about the many late night meetings in town hall and in the community to build consensus. They're wonderful stories about collaboration at the local level. And it's such good and important work, and we get to fund it. And so we can't recognize this great work in the way we normally do, but it's wonderful to have you all here with us today. And before I jump into the award announcements, let me just talk a little bit about our economic recovery plan. Last month, we announced a comprehensive plan to grow and stabilize the Commonwealth's economy. It's based on 5 key, what we call recovery imperatives: support small business, revitalize our downtowns, continue to lead and innovate, get people back to work, and housing equity, opportunity, and stability. And truly, MassWorks is a very important tool in our toolbox that will help us advance all of those interests. And so these awards will help revitalize our downtowns, our town centers. They will create more housing. They will create more jobs, both construction jobs and full-time jobs. They will help lay the foundation for more growth in our great innovation economy. And they will support our small businesses. So it's really great to be here today and highlight all these terrific awards around the state. And so I'll try to be as brief as possible. We got 36 awards, and I'll run through what those are, and then we're going to hear from some of our colleagues in the legislature and municipal leaders as well. So first up, Town of Acton, $2.75 million for affordable housing infrastructure improvements. Town of Amherst, $1.5 million to unlock Amherst Pomeroy Village Center. Third is the Town of Avon, $1 million for the Central Street Regional Safety and Connectivity Project. Next is the Town of Air, $3.164 million for public infrastructure on West Main Street. The City of Beverly, $1.75 million for improvements to Sawyer and Tozer roads. The City of Boston, $3 million for Amory Street infrastructure. City of Boston, again, $3 million for Phase 3 of Whittier Choice Neighborhood Development. City of Brockton, $2.654 million for the reconstruction of Garfield Street and Terminal Place. Next is Buckland, $1 million for the reconstruction of Charlemont Road and culvert repairs. Next is Burlington, $3.5 million for the Burlington Water Connection Project. The City of Chelsea, $5 million for the Innis Apartments redevelopment. Dracut, $650,000 to unlock the senior housing at 144 Greenmont Avenue. Irving, $500,000 for road and wastewater infrastructure design and construction to prepare the former International Paper Mill for development. Hanover, $1.265 million for the mixed-use redevelopment of the former Hanover Mall. Harvard, $1 million for Slough Road safety improvements. Haverhill, as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned, a great project, $1.95 million to support transit-oriented development and mixed-use redevelopment. City of Lawrence, $1.31 million for Island Parkside public infrastructure improvements. Leominster, $2.487 million for Whitney Field infrastructure improvements. The City of Lynn, $2.2 million to support the Lynnway at Blossom Street traffic and safety plan. Methuen, $990,000 for replacement of the Charles Street retaining wall. Nantucket, $1.5 million for improvements to Waite Drive. And you'll hear more about this in a few minutes from the Nantucket Select Board Chair. Towns of Northfield and Warwick, $2 million for road reconstruction. More to come on this one as well from the local officials here with us today. Town of Orange, $1 million for South Main Street infrastructure upgrades. Phillipston, $1 million for the rehabilitation of Route 101, Queen Lake Road. The City of Pittsfield, $3 million for Tyler Street streetscape improvements. And Mayor Tyre will speak more about this one soon. The Town of Plainfield, $998,000 for improvements to Route 116. The Town of Sheffield, $1 million for 2 critical bridge replacements. South Hadley, $2.711 million for improvements in the Newton Street Smart Growth District. Stoughton, $2.5 million for the South Stoughton sewer expansion project. Ware, $178,000 for streetscape and lighting along Main Street. The town of Wayland, $2.203 million to connect a new housing development to wastewater management facility. Wellfleet, $2.5 million for a water system upgrade and expansion. West Brookfield, $985,000 for improvements to their town center. And Westboro, $1.282 million for roadway improvements in the area of Flanders Road and West Park Drive extension. The town of Wilmington, $2.891 million for infrastructure improvements that benefit safety and a transit-oriented housing development. And finally, the city of Worcester, $1.5 million to support the city's construction of a new urban street, Green Island Boulevard, in the city's Canal District. So congratulations to all of the 2020 MassWorks Infrastructure Grant Program Award recipients. These are wonderful projects. They're going to help move our Commonwealth forward. And of course, there's far more detail in each one of these. So I encourage you to take a look at our website, mass.gov/MassWorks. There'll be a lot of great detail on all these projects up on the site. So now we want to hear from some of our friends and colleagues in the legislature to talk about this program. They've been such great partners on MassWorks and all matters of economic development. Senator Eric Lesser and Representative Ann Margaret Ferrante. Why don't we start with Senator Lesser, then please turn it over to Rep. Ferrante.
Great. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Everybody can see me?
Yeah.
The Zoom check. So, well, thank you so much, Secretary Kennealy, and it's really been a great honor to work with you and your team. And I want to thank Governor Baker. We know you have a few things going on, so we appreciate you taking the time to do this. And of course, Lieutenant Governor Polito and my friend and co-chair, Ann Margaret Ferrante. I'll just be very brief. MassWorks, as the governor mentioned, was started about 10 years ago, really in response to the last recession, because there was an acknowledgement and appreciation that it's infrastructure that helps us recover from economic crises, and it's infrastructure that catalyzes private sector development, small business growth, and creates new jobs. And that's really what these awards are all about. It's about unlocking opportunity in all of our communities across the Commonwealth to create jobs, high-paying construction jobs, and then very good jobs in the new businesses and in the new residences and housing that is catalyzed as a result of that infrastructure. So as we make it through what is obviously a very difficult time, we need to stay focused on recovery. We need to stay focused on getting the unemployment rate down. We need to stay focused on creating new jobs. And that's what these projects are about. It's about hard hats. It's about putting people to work. And it's about what these investments will do over the long term to create more opportunity for our families and to create more jobs. So that's really what it's about. And that's why we were excited to provide substantial new authorization in the 2018 Economic Development Bill for MassWorks that help make these awards possible. And it's why we'll continue to provide more authorizations in this Economic Development Bill that's currently under negotiation and in future ones, so that we can continue to make those investments to create those jobs and to create more opportunity for our families and to dig ourselves out of this very hard economic situation that we're all in. So with that, I guess I'll turn it over to Co-Chair Ferrante. And I just want to thank you, Secretary Kennealy, if I can say Mike. Been working together a lot over the last several months, and very much appreciate you and your team and you as well, Lieutenant Governor Polito. We know it's a lot of work to vet through all these applications and to get all of this out the door as quickly and efficiently as is the case today. So thank you again. And I want to congratulate all of the communities that are receiving funds.
Thank you, Senator. Rep. Ferrante? Oh, you're on mute.
Still getting used to that silly little mute button.
There you go.
I want to thank you, Mr. Secretary, for the opportunity to speak today. And I especially want to thank my co-chair, Eric Lesser, we have a lot of work before us. And as most of you know, the legislature comes together to authorize the money. And then we have to put a lot of faith in the administration in order to go through the applications, to meet with the local officials, and to make sure that these projects get funded. And so I don't think that there's a lack of saying this. I think we need to say this, and we need to say it constantly. I'm very proud of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in particular, Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and the Secretary, because let's be honest, their hands are full during this pandemic. And each night I watch nightly news and I see the terrible condition that other states are in terms of this pandemic. And it makes you wonder, with everything that's going on in terms of the results, in terms of what's happening, how we're still able to move forward. And yet, day after day, the Baker-Polito administration, Secretary Kennealy, have found a way to make sure that Massachusetts continues to move forward. And they've been tremendous partners in making sure that we're able to do that. And so when I look at the administration and I look at the House of Representatives, I use the phrase, same corporation, different division. And so for the House of Representatives, we have a number of constituents, and we're probably the closest on the ground to our constituents and to these projects to see them happen, as each other branch of government represents more people and have more of the state to worry about. And so I can tell you, as a state representative myself, as chair of the committee, as I interact with each of our representatives, they are your cheerleaders. They are there day in and day out to let us know what you need and how to get it done. And then the beauty is we run that up to the Senate, and we have great legislators like my co-chair and his colleagues that help put that emphasis on there. And then we have the administration that's able to sift through the applications and put that exclamation point on the project. So again, to my co-chair, thank you. To our partners in local government, thank you for your partnership and willing to work so freely with us. And to the administration, to the governor, lieutenant governor, and the secretary, you know, we're all a piece of the puzzle to make sure that these projects come to fruition. And just keep putting those exclamation points on these projects and creating those jobs that we need so desperately right now in the recovery. So thank you, everybody, for your cooperation. It's a pleasure to be here. And the senator and I, as he said, will continue to do our job to make sure that the funds are there to be invested into these projects.
Great, thank you both. It's so great working with each of you as co-chairs of the Economic Development and Emerging Technologies Committee. And Lieutenant Governor, I really valued your perspective on the Economic Development Planning Council last year. You've been great partners in all this. And in fact, as the governor mentioned, none of this is possible without our partnership with the legislature. Those 2016 and 2018 economic development bills gave us the resources to make these awards. And I can't acknowledge everybody individually, but thank all the legislators with us at this event today. You've been such critical partners in all of this, not only helping to give us the resources, but also helping to champion some of these projects. And very much appreciate your insight that you've provided on each one of these. So big thanks to all of our legislators with us today. With that, I want to have Mayor Linda Tyre of Pittsfield say a few words about her MassWorks project on Tyler Street.
Good morning, everyone. First, I want to extend my gratitude to Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for everything that you have been doing to protect this Commonwealth during this global pandemic. I know that you have made 1,000 decisions since the beginning of all of this, and every one of those decisions has been about the care and concern for the residents of this Commonwealth. And every community understands just the magnitude of what you're dealing with. And I want to express my gratitude to you for your steady hand in guiding us through this extraordinarily difficult time. But today, I just cannot express how delighted I am that Pittsfield has been chosen for this round of MassWorks grants. As a mayor representing a gateway city, I can attest that MassWorks is a vital program for cities and towns because it gives us the ability to dream big, to imagine more, and to access the expertise and the funding to realize our potential. Especially now during COVID-19, when our residents are feeling strained, we celebrate today's announcement with great excitement. So thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and Secretary Kennealy. Pittsfield and her citizens are grateful for all you're doing to stand with us as we build a stronger city. So here in Pittsfield, the Streetscape and Roundabout project are the culmination of 6 years of determined effort by those who live, work, and own a business in the Morningside neighborhood. The historic Tyler Street corridor ties together key employment hubs like Berkshire Medical Center and General Dynamics, as well as being anchored on the west to our revitalized downtown and on the east to the William Stanley Business Park, home of the Berkshire Innovation Center, which, as all of you know, signifies Pittsfield's greatest hope for economic rebirth of the former General Electric manufacturing site. Pittsfield, being one of the first cities designated as a TDI district, we are grateful to Mass Development for all that they have done to help us realize our vision of creating a sense of place along this significant neighborhood corridor. From the beginning, improving the quality of life along Tyler Street and in the close-knit adjoining neighborhoods, sustaining and growing a mix of commercial and residential uses was, as the program suggests, it's transformative. So now with this award from the MassWorks program, revitalizing the Tyler Street right-of-way for multiple modes of transportation can be achieved. This proposal was a top priority of the neighborhood plan that was prepared back in 2016 as part of the TDI work. There have been other investments and improvements along the Tyler Street TDI, including the redevelopment of a 4-building former church into 29 market rate rental units, storefront improvements to 6 commercial properties. We made some changes in our zoning to ease the permitting for infill housing and mixed-use development. We prepared a scattered site housing development plan that is now being implemented by a private developer who has already invested more than $5 million in this neighborhood. There has also been the creation of a collaborative community workspace, which is working with the recently established Berkshire E4All affiliate. So as you can see, your investment today is a good investment. Pittsfield is hard at work building a stronger city. And the Streetscape project is an anchor component for the Tyler Street corridor. So certainly none of this that we are celebrating today could have been possible without the city's Director of Community Development, Deanna Rufer, and the city planner, CJ Haas. They were able to take the vision expressed by the residents and businesses in our historic Morningside neighborhood and make it all come to life. And finally, all of this progress has been made possible through our strong community partnerships and with the generous support from the Commonwealth and Mass Development. So thank you all for believing in us and in Pittsfield's future.
Mayor, thanks so much. Great to hear more about that important project. We're going to travel quite a bit east now and hear from Nantucket Select Board Chair Don Hill-Holgate, who's going to tell us more about the project, which is the island's first MassWorks grant.
Thank you, Secretary Kennealy. It is an honor to be here today with you, Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and these other town leaders. I believe I speak for all Nantucketers when I say we are grateful for your steady and reassuring leadership during these uncertain times. These challenging days make the bright spots all that much more so. Therefore, Nantucket is appreciative and candidly energized to be receiving its first MassWorks grant, particularly at this critical time. Housing for our year-round community remains a #1 priority to the Nantucket Select Board, and this award will facilitate building the roadway infrastructure to support a new 64-unit rental housing development on town land where 80% of the residences will be income restricted at various levels. This $1.5 million grant will fund half of the Waite Drive infrastructure, which is significant and a key piece of the funding puzzle to create housing for our year-round residents, who are truly the soul of our island. Town meeting had the foresight back in 2004 to purchase a large tract of land here that now houses some of our town offices, a recently completed public safety facility that houses our police department and our fire department. And this complex will be adjacent to that, very centrally located. And it's been a long time in the works. My tenure on the board is since 2015. And we've been working on this from the beginning of that time diligently as a top priority. Nantucket is proud to have been part of the inaugural class of Housing Choice Communities and to have been a consistent member since 2018. We are looking forward to working alongside the developer of this 64-unit rental housing development to submit our application for a tax credit award through the next funding round at DHCD, and to see this town vision finally become a reality. Again, on behalf of the Nantucket Select Board, the town and county of Nantucket, and all of our citizens, we thank you for this grant, and we value your support of our ongoing efforts to address our vital year-round housing needs. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Chair Holgate. And finally, I'd like to ask Northfield Select Board Chair Alex Meisner and Warwick Select Board Chair Member Todd Dexter to speak about the $2 million MassWorks investment into a main thoroughfare between the two towns.
Okay, well, I will speak for Northfield first. My name is Alex Meisner, Chair of the Northfield Select Board. So just wanted to first say thank you to our people who have gotten us in this position. Secretary Kennealy for introducing me today, thank you. And to Lieutenant Governor Polito and to Governor Baker. Massachusetts has 351 municipalities, and we each all have our own separate issues and our own uniqueness to them. And to be a first-time recipient of this award for being a small town under 7,000, this is huge for us. And we have a very fragile transportation infrastructure out in our area, especially involving this particular road. And it's very, very hilly. There's a lot of mountains and stuff like that. So to be in this position where we're able to put a lot of money into this road, especially since it's cost lives in the past through accidents, and to help our children get to school safer, for our first responders to answer calls easier, this couldn't be a bigger gift right around the holidays. This is great. And these type of actions that we see from our friends on the eastern side of the state, it really reinforces our community's confidence that we have the state on our side. And it really means a lot to myself as chair of the board and to my residents as well. And with your help, care, and support through this, and we wouldn't be in this position to make our roads safer and our children, our travelers, everybody to be in a safer spot, as well as boosting our local economy through the jobs that this will create for us. And we are in a position now to do this for our residents and to do this for those coming and visiting our state and stuff. This is a very dangerous road. So just want to say once again, thank you to Senator Comerford, as well as State Rep Paul Mark, Secretary Kennealy, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and Governor Baker for having us be in this position where we can do this. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Todd Dexter. I'm the Vice Chair of the Warwick Select Board. And we're a very small community in Western Massachusetts. Warwick appreciates the Commonwealth's investment in our community with a joint effort with our neighbor, the town of Northfield, meets the important needs of our connecting roadway. And I'd like to thank Secretary Kennealy, Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito and Governor Charlie Baker for helping make these programs possible for every community in the Commonwealth. Being a town of a population under 1,000, and half of our land mass here in the town of Warwick is state-owned, which hosts parks, reservoirs, and lands that contribute to our community character. The project addresses our needs to adequately fund roads through these lands, and some of the nearly impossible small towns funds that we have are limited. And this MassWorks grant has made this project jointly with Northfield for the Northfield Warwick Road a much safer future for our children, for our commuters to work in the west end part of our state and our town, ambulance and emergency services between our two towns, as well as the general population. The Northfield Road is truly a very hidden road, hilly area, and the joint connection between the two towns, the road is inadequately graded. It tips to a very steep embankment. It's very, very dangerous in the wintertime and quite shaded by trees in the local area. And with this Mass grant, we're going to be able to work on infrastructure with new guardrails, drainage, new pavement, and of course addressing the town line where the joint effort between the two communities will improve our transportation system. We're grateful to the Commonwealth and to our legislature, and I'd also like to thank Senator Comerford as well as Representative Susanna Whips. They both contributed to this grant application. Being a first-time recipient for the town of Warwick, I'd just like to say thank you to, again, the Lieutenant Governor, our Governor, and Secretary Kennealy. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Great to hear about this project. Before we wrap up, there's another group of people I want to thank, and that is the team here at HED that works on the MassWorks projects. It is a heck of a lot of work to get through all these applications and help us make decisions. We get over 100 applications every year. We fund this year 36. There's a lot of care and a lot of analysis and a lot of thought that goes into this process. So I really hope I didn't miss everybody, but that team is led by Assistant Secretary Juan Vega. It includes Mark Horn, Jackie Furtado, Nick Bulens, Jean-Wade Tomei, and Kevin Staley. And they just do a tremendous job helping us make decisions on projects to fund and support the projects along the way. Also joined here today by Molly Bork, Ryan Bohm, and Lucas Patnud, who will assist in the communication and rollout of these projects. So big thanks to Team MassWorks here at HED. Well, that's about it for today. Thank you all again for being here. Big thanks to our friends and colleagues in the legislature for joining us and your continued partnership. Big thanks to all the municipal and community leaders that have joined us here today. You know, we call their economic development plan Partnerships for Growth. We call their recovery plan Partnerships for Recovery. We all of us are all about working together to get important things done. We look forward to seeing these projects come to life and look forward to working with all of you to drive a robust economic recovery for the Commonwealth.